How's it going, guys? Hope you guys are having a great week. So it's time again for a Friday news feature, guys. Today I'm actually going to release two videos. Both of these are on hardware. So this first one is going to focus on Sony's PlayStation 5, their next gen console. So we've finally got some details, a few reveals by Sony. There was an article by news outlet Wired written by Peter Rubin, which came out on the 16th of April. Peter was invited to Sony's headquarters in Foster City in California for a behind closed doors exclusive to sort of talk about the hardware and what the new console is going to have to offer. This was led by Mark Cerny, or Cherny, however you pronounce it. He's basically the lead system architect. He was also the lead system architect on the PlayStation 4, but he actually revealed some key information. So here are 7 new details that Sony have confirmed about the PlayStation 5. First off, let's start with some of the technical side of things. So let's talk about the CPU. They confirmed that the CPU is going to be incredibly powerful. It's going to run on AMD's 3rd generation Ryzen line, and it's going to contain 8 cores of new 7 nanometer Zen 2 micro architecture. Now, I'm not an expert on that, but I have heard it's incredibly powerful. Now, one of the things he did talk about with the CPU is that as part of it, it actually includes a custom unit for 3D audio. So Mark Cherny talked about the fact that he was kind of disappointed with the evolution of audio from the PlayStation 3 to the PS4. He didn't feel like there was enough gains made, there wasn't enough done to improve on that. Well, the PlayStation 5 is going to be capable of fully 3D audio. It's going to work with TVs, TV systems, and also surround sound, but he has said that the ultimate way to experience it will be, of course, using headphones, but the idea is obviously to immerse the player, to immerse the gamer even more into the games that they're playing. And yeah, it just sounds absolutely amazing. I think audio, music, audio effects, I think that has a huge part to play in video games and can make those experiences quite unique, especially when you are playing those games using headphones. I myself played, for example, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, where the audio in that felt completely 3D, and it was just amazing. So I'm very excited to hear about this. The second thing we learnt about was the GPU. So this is actually a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family. Now, the key thing that we learnt from this is it's actually going to support something called ray tracing. Now, ray tracing is a staple of most Hollywood visual effects. It's to do with lighting and the way in which light rays bounce off of objects and the reflections that they create. There are a couple of very high-end graphics cards that are capable of it, but they're incredibly expensive and it's more of a luxury for PC gamers. But if the PlayStation 5 can give us some of the visual effects like those we've seen in Hollywood movies, that's kind of amazing, and is going to mean, you know, that graphical fidelity is just going to be absolutely incredible. The third thing that we learned, and probably one of the most exciting things for me, was the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going to have a solid state drive, or an SSD drive for short. I think that is a perfect decision for them. Of course, as games get bigger and larger, loading times do get longer. So, for example, Red Dead Redemption 2, with all its updates and everything, stands at a whopping 99 gigabyte. So, you know, this does lead to quite lengthy loading times. So that SSD drive is going to really improve those loading times. It's going to make fast travel a lot quicker. It's going to mean games are going to be running a lot smoother and will also load a lot smoother as well. Now, they did actually show some example behind closed doors. They actually had Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. They had that game showing. That's the footage I've got behind me here, because I thought, why not show a Sony exclusive title while talking about Sony related news. But yeah, the PlayStation 4's version of Spider-Man, they showed fast travel where you jump from one point to the other. And I think they timed how long it took, and it took like 15 seconds for the transition between loading screens. And then they showed it on the new next gen hardware, and it loaded in like 0.8 seconds, which is just absolutely mind-boggling when you think about that speed. And it's just going to make that immersion that much more incredible. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to hear that. And obviously, you know, it means that developers are not going to have to try to spend their time trying to camouflage loading screens so that gamers don't realize how long they're in loading screens and have things at least to read, or lots of text on screen and information and tips and hints and that kind of thing. It just means, you know, gamers can just focus on that gameplay experience, and it should make, you know, open world exploration that much quicker and that much smoother. It will mean, of course, that worlds can be rendered a lot quicker, that assets within the world can be rendered faster as well, and of course your character will be able to move a lot quicker in that world as well. The fourth thing that they confirmed was that the PlayStation 5 will be capable of 8K resolution, and of course it's going to have pretty fast frames per second as well. I would think easily 60 frames per second, if not faster. They didn't elaborate on it too much, except to say that the SSD card that they're using, the raw bandwidth within that custom built SSD card is actually faster and higher than any SSD card available on the market currently for PC, which is just incredible if that is the truth. So it's capable of 8K resolution, which is amazing. Now I think that for me that's a little bit overkill. There really aren't that many TVs at the moment that are capable. I don't think there are any that I've seen that are capable of 8K, and I think 4K is still something that we're relatively new to in terms of TVs and consoles, and you know, 4K TVs, 4K monitors are quite expensive. So I think of course it's going to be able to play native 4K from the get-go. Whether or not it will be, you know, capable of 8K further along the line, that of course depends on other technology, because there's no point having a console that can render 8K when you don't have a TV that can actually show that. So perhaps that feature will become available and will be more appreciated towards the back end of its life cycle. The fifth thing that was confirmed was that the PlayStation 5 will still accept physical media. It will still have a disc drive. It is not a download only, digital only console. It's kind of ironic that they revealed that information pretty much off the back end of Microsoft revealing their latest Xbox One S all digital console, which obviously doesn't have the disc drive. So it's kind of interesting that Sony is sort of saying, no, we're not going that way. You know, you are going to still have the ability to purchase your games on disc, and obviously install those from a disc as well, and physically own that game. And I know for many gamers, they'll be very, very happy to hear that. So it's kind of interesting that they did bring that up and did mention it. But I'm happy to hear that that is going to be the case. And I think that has a lot to do with the sixth fact, which is the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going to be backwards compatible with the PlayStation 4. Of course, it makes sense. It's built on the same architecture of the PlayStation 4, so the games and everything are built on the same architecture. So I like the fact that it's going to be backwards compatible. I think that's really great, because I've got quite a large library on my PlayStation 4 of games that I've bought or that I've gotten for free in the monthly sort of PlayStation Plus download titles. But I haven't had a chance to play them or finish them, so I've got quite a large library, a backlog of unfinished, unplayed games that I'm wanting to work my way through at some point. So I love the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going to be backwards compatible. That, of course, will encourage people who maybe can't afford the new console to possibly trade in their own console against the cost of it. And the seventh fact is that it will work with the current PSVR models, so it is backwards compatible with that as well. And they have said that, you know, the initial launch of the PlayStation 5, it's going to be kind of a soft launch, so there will be a lot of titles that will be both available on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 to sort of cushion that transition. Now, they haven't announced like any price points at the moment for it. Of course, it's got quite high-end tech in there, so it's not going to be super cheap, but hopefully it will be a relatively reasonable price for what they're asking for it. Maybe it will come bundled with some really cool release titles, but it sounds interesting. Now, when is it coming out? We know, and it's confirmed, it's not coming out in 2019. That's not a surprise, but the rumors circulating at the moment is that we could expect the next gen PlayStation 5 to be coming out around the back end of 2020, maybe fall 2020. So we'll have to wait and see, you know, when it's going to come out and for further announcements. But this is pretty much Sony just sort of laying down a little bit of information about the tech of the console. It sounds incredibly powerful, but for me, with any console, it's always about the games that come out with that console. It's the games I'm interested in, and I'm really hoping the PlayStation 5 will have some pretty awesome release titles. Now, they did ask a little bit about Death Stranding, and I think Peter Rubin asked, actually, is Death Stranding going to be available on, you know, both consoles? And they confirmed it's coming out on the PlayStation 4, most definitely. But Mark Cherney sort of gave a little bit of a grin when sort of talking about the PlayStation 5. So maybe Death Stranding will be one of those titles that's available on both consoles. I guess it remains to be seen, but I'm kind of excited to hear what titles, what lineup is going to be coming out. I thought the PlayStation 4, when that first released, had kind of a weak lineup. It took a few years really for it to sort of hit its stride and start to bring out some really incredible exclusives, some really incredible games, and it's really at its peak at the moment, the PlayStation 4. There are so many good games to play on there, so many awesome exclusives, from God of War to Spider-Man to Horizon Zero Dawn. There are so many, and there's so many more to come, so I'm still excited about the PlayStation 4. You know, I'm not really too worried or thinking much about the next gen console. I'm still very much loving my PlayStation 4, and we'll still very much be playing lots of games on my PlayStation 4 and obviously reviewing those for you guys. But that is pretty much everything that we learned about the PlayStation 5, about Sony's next gen console. Let me know what you guys think of this news in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the console? What did you like? What would you like to learn? What other information would you be interested in getting from Sony? Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Take care. And as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.